You go, girl. You would assume that girl power would be about what the WNBA is all about, right? It's called the Women's Basketball League, but this league that doesn't even know what a woman is attacking women. Violence against women, right? Look at this. Sophie Cunningham. She's become a bit of a star. They call her MAGA Barbie because, well, she's just standing up for basic women's biology in her sport. She got clotheslined, left bloody by a Hoodrat. Dijon Mustard is her name. And Dijon Carrington, actually. I'm going to call her Dijon Mustard because, one, she has hair color of mustard, and she talked about white privilege, yet her hair is blonder than Sophie Cunningham's. And here's your white privilege for you right here. Look at that. She should be banned from the league forever, actually, for this. It's so flagrant. This is obviously an intentional hit. And it's done so while she was midair, which could lead to you really like landing really badly on your back or neck. It could paralyze you, a hit like this. Anyway, Sophie Cunningham literally taking one for the team. This is the same player, by the way, that gouged Caitlin Clark in her eye. She's a criminal and should be in prison. The Attorney General of the state of Florida said that if the WNBA played like this in the state of Florida, they'd be arrested for assault. Black privilege is wearing an ugly blonde wig, appropriating white culture, attacking a white woman, and then whining about the consequences because she said white privilege afterwards when she was ejected from the game. Sophie Cunningham responded in kind. God, this is why people love her.
If I worried what every bitch in New York was saying about me, I'd never leave the house.
Cannot emphasize how much I literally don't care. Well, here we go. Dijon Mustard has decided to defend her white privilege post after the brutal foul on Sophie Cunningham. So here we go. This is the woman who hates white people so much, doing everything she can to look like a white person and change the color of Sophie Cunningham's mouth for sure. That's blood after this flagrant foul. Let's go ahead and read here. Chicago star Dijon Mustard hit back, uproar over her controversial white privilege post. A confrontation after Indiana Fever, Sophie Cunningham. Carrington and Cunningham needed to be separated after the Sky Guard's brutal flagrant 2 foul left the Fever forward bleeding from her mouth. And she was ejected. And she wrote white privilege and then tagged the Indiana Fever, right? Saying presumably that like it's a privilege, that this is privileged to get hit like this. You can see here, here's the post. Okay. Now she's clarifying. Many assumed that the white privilege was a reference to the ejection of an African-American player fouling for a white rival. And to call it white privilege based on a foul is completely undermine the term white privilege and to completely ignore the rules of basketball. Okay. You hit her in the head, you drew blood, you didn't connect with the ball or whatsoever. So to me, this is very ignorant. So here we go. Carrington has addressed this on social media right here. Let's go ahead and read. I've never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. I know you studied psych. Furthermore, I'm the last thing from ignorant or asinine when it comes to speaking on white privilege. Do your research on that one. I actually went to school, one of the top universities, I might add, and educated myself the exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing its historical and social weight holds having the proper evidence to substantiate it. Oh, okay. Looks like the Stanford coming out here. She did, in fact, go to Stanford on a full-ride scholarship, and her father played in the NFL, and she was raised in some of the nicest neighborhoods, had private tutors, and had flute lessons and all the like, right? It's amazing how the most hoodrat people, just like Jasmine Crockett, are the ones who come from the most elite parts of society. They're playing the part. They're wearing it as a skin suit. It's gross. You are totally correct. My assumption, along with the majority of the sports world, was that you were posting white privilege. Okay. Two things can connect it. That's on me. All right, whatever. Shut up, dude. She posted this garbage on X instead of Threads. She's getting the ratio of the year. Let's go ahead and check on that ratio, shall we? Okay, 18,000 comments, only 9,000 reposts. That's the ratio right there. Mm-hmm. You posted white privilege the moment you were ejected. I didn't do nothing. Oh man, okay. These are the same people? So this is your white privilege? White privilege is such a problem. Why do you spend so much money trying to look like a white woman? It's like, why are you going to tell us what you mean? Well, what do you mean? Please share the substantial evidence. You have to tell people you're really smart. No, you're not. Why did you post white privilege after being ejected then? You dumb moron. Okay. Let's go ahead and see what the internet has to say. You said a whole bunch of nothing. Your very first words after getting ejected the locker room was white privilege while the game was still going on. It doesn't matter where you went to school or how you dress up this post. Throwing sugar on shit doesn't make it smell better. You knew exactly what you meant. This is your PR cleanup. It says former LSU national champion. Yikes. It's maybe the greatest tweet of all time. She says she didn't mean white privilege about her flagrant foul call, then flexes where she went to school. Stanford on a full ride scholarship because of her daddy and her privilege. Her daddy played in the NFL for like 10 seasons. You went to school to educate yourself on white privilege? Cut it out. This is precisely what you did. Don't try to rewrite history. You're getting mocked for race baiting. Then why did you say it, liar? It's quite a word salad you got there. What do you mean? What evidence do you have? So pretty weak. Pretty weak response here. Like, what do you mean? If Sophie Cunningham had clotheslined a black player, kicked out of the game, and then tweeted black privilege from the locker room, the WNBA would have suspended her for the season and maybe banned her for life. And we all know this is true. That's right. There she goes again. Yeah, there she goes. Pretty clear to me she wasn't talking about the foul. What was she talking about exactly? This is the face of fatigue. The face of fatigue. And as Cantor, I really hope that he gets to the WNBA. Let the transition to the WNBA begin. The rules are the rules. Please, I really hope that you get to play against Royce White and Inez Cantor, Dijon Mustard. The league, the WNBA, is desperately, psychotically trying to figure out what a woman is. They're having emergency meetings about it. And meanwhile, Dijon is having an emergency meeting to try and scrub who she actually is. And that's really, really sad. You should be proud of who you are. Somewhere down the line, Johnny Carrington went from being a well-spoken, lovely girl to being like...
My dad played football and my mom ran track. And so they were both on collegiate scholarships. And then my dad went on to play in the NFL for 8 seasons. And my sister played basketball in college, and she played at University of New Orleans. My brother played at the University of Oregon and University of Utah. And when I was in high school, my mom was actually my head coach. My dad was her associate head coach, and my sister was one of the assistant coaches. It was a really...
Can I stop right here? This is one of the whitest photos I've ever seen in my life. Look at that hat. Look at their outfits. Look at the little lake that they're on, or it looks like there's palm trees there. So who knows where that is? Looks like some nice island in Florida.
I hope to return to school, get my master's and my PhD in psychology.
That's white privilege. That's like amazing. What happened to you? You know, what happens to these, WNBA happens, honestly. Culture happens. You can see the, makeup and the wig and the piercing. Man, it's a nightmare. She was raised a Christian, sports-focused family, planned to pursue her PhD. Now she's known for smacking Sophie Cunningham in the face, blaming white privilege on the ejection, gouging Caitlin Clark's eye, and then wearing an F Donald Trump shirt. Dude. Pray for your children, man. You know what I mean? Pray for your kids. Pray your kids don't end up in the WNBA. Maybe that's the major lesson here. Either way, it's your boy Benny. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. We all know it'd be true. If Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham did any of this, they'd be out for life from the league. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, black privilege.